Hi, Ty. Thank you so much for coming over today and spending some time with me. I've been hearing some wonderful things about what you've been doing in this community, and I'd like you to share them with me today.
Well, my name is Stewart Nelson. I grew up in this community. I graduated from Father Henry Carr. I'm an aspiring entrepreneur. I'm the founder and CEO of Brotherhood and Sisterhood Apparel and Arts, which is focused on pretty much engaging the local talent, models, photographers, artists, and trying to bring them all together pretty much in one community and as a team, and try to build the bond of loyalty and glorify that, and let everybody know that it's better to achieve things together.
Well, that's fantastic. When did you start this organization?
We're actually in full function this year, but it's been something that's pretty much been going on since I was in high school in about grade 10.
And what's motivated you to start this? I know it's a lot of hard work.
The Brotherhood and Sisterhood pretty much started, it's actually something I'm a part of. It started while I was in high school, as I said, a group of guys that really had my back and supported me and made me feel like I had a family outside of my home.
That's an amazing concept. Like I told you the other day when we met too. That day we also talked about a lot of other issues in the community, and a lot of people being disengaged with politics.
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit about the importance of voting, and I was very interested to hear what you had to say. Would you mind sharing some of that with me about the issues that your community are facing, other people your age, and why you think it's important for them to vote in this coming election?
Well, for sure. I actually talked to a few people in my community to kind of also get their opinions. And pretty much the younger generation, we don't know the importance of voting. We don't feel engaged, we don't feel involved, because pretty much usually we don't get reached out to in terms of, even when people go door knocking, they don't come and say, and when you open a door, they don't say, hey, well, this is what I'm doing. They say, hi, may I speak to you? Is your mom or dad here? Instead of like trying to reach out to us personally. And like the way to reach out to the younger generation right now is really social media, going directly to their school and educating them, letting them know what they're about and why they should vote. We can't know the importance without getting taught.
You're right. You're absolutely right. We need to engage everybody in order to make them excited about being involved.
Exactly.
What are some of the issues that you feel are important to the people that you talk to?
Well, especially in this community, we have an ongoing problem with carding, and it's known. So pretty much what everybody would like to know is, why is it known and people aren't doing anything about it? In terms of, let's just say, the minority in this community, why is it that certain cultures can feel comfortable going out late at night and others can't because they feel that they're going to get stopped? Why is it that I can't feel like, I could just walk the streets comfortably? Why is it that when an officer wants to pull me over and put my name in the system, there's always something coincidentally going on in the area, or that I always seem to fit the description?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what the problem in this community is. It's an evident problem in this community.
Yeah. I agree, actually, and I've been to quite a few discussions and talks and groups, and City Hall had a couple of events as well regarding this exact issue. And a lot of people from the community were invited to express their opinion, sometimes anger about it. It was really great for me to be able to participate in those talks. As you might know, I'm an attorney, and I was a public defender for a while for juveniles. And I really do know how important it is for kids to be given the opportunity and every chance that's available for them to succeed in life. And carding is something that I'm very against, because it takes away that opportunity and for their future to be bright, and over things that aren't, they're not doing anything wrong.
They're not doing anything, they're innocent.
Yeah.
It allows an officer to enforce his bias.
Yeah, it's not effective. I mean, we all know why they perhaps started carding, thinking they were going to eventually catch on to illegal activity that's happening. But in the crossfire, and because of the biases that you're talking about, so many innocent people end up with a record and a rap sheet that they don't deserve. So we need to figure out, we need to communicate, and it's great that we're starting this dialogue now. But what is a more effective process? We all know carding isn't working.
It's not.
And we need to get rid of it.
Yes.
And we need to figure out a system that does work in order to, because I know every community wants to make sure that their community is safe and crime free.
Yeah.
But let's work towards that and not discriminating against people that are just trying to live their regular lives. So I hear you on that, and that's something, you know, I want to work towards with all the communities, all the different, you know, segments of our community here. I know another thing that we touched upon a little bit that I wanted to ask you about was, do you feel there's a divide in Brampton?
For sure. In terms of the cultures, we tend to want to hire ourselves. We tend to want to have events just for ourselves instead of coming together and not making us feel like, okay, we're just going to do what we want to do with ourselves, and more come together and say, you know, let's do something together.
Yeah.
So that, you know, we can hire different cultures and enable them to get jobs and better their future.
Right.
Instead, we're trying to like keep each other down and only help each other, ourselves, when everybody could succeed. That's
right.
really the divider.
When everyone does better, when every group segment of society does better, we all do better, and the country does better. So
Yes.
that is something we should all be striving towards. I just wanted to get, you know, how do you feel you can make that be a part of helping me going forward, even make that happen? How can your voice be heard? How can we get, you know, you to be involved, other people you know to get involved in politics or in various other organizations in our city, so that we can make sure that we have, you know, everyone represented?
Exactly. I feel that once again we need to stop, I guess, closing our eyes and just wanting to, I guess, open the doors to, once again, ourselves. We really need to be a little more open-minded and be able to give everyone equal opportunity so that we can better ourselves. Because if we keep this closed-minded thinking, we're going to stay right where we are.
Yeah. Do you feel, I mean, you've been saying so many people are disengaged and they're not feeling included. How do we change that? You know, help me also make sure that something I want to strive towards. I grew up here in Brampton with friends of all cultural backgrounds, and I'm finding it now in my older years a little bit hard to encourage. There's quite a few kids that, you know, I'm lucky to have a campaign office next to a high school, and you know, kids come in at their lunch hour and after school, and it's fantastic to see because they're getting involved at a very young age, and they're learning a little bit about politics and why it's important to, you know, their future and the decisions that are made by this country affect them in the end. How do I encourage those people that are feeling disengaged? You know, this is something that I really want to do, whether I get elected on October 19th going forward or not. It's something that I want to make sure at one point we achieve here in Brampton. I lived in the US for a bit. I did some public defending work there in Cleveland, and I saw that there were great divides in the community there. You know, you had neighborhoods that were not doing very well, and then very affluent neighborhoods. And it's something I fear could be the future here as well.
Yeah.
And it's something that motivates me as a mom to really take this step forward and try to do something about it. We need to make sure, when I grew up here, you could go to any public school and get a good education. And now I'm hearing from parents more and more that some schools are better than other schools. And I'm starting to hear that same kind of thing that I saw in the US. I don't want us to head down that road. So we do need to all work together. But how do we get everyone engaged? How do we
I think you need to get, in terms of, especially the younger generation, like what you're doing, as you just said, like bringing the kids here and getting personal with them and talking to them, introducing them to politics from early, is more of what needs to be happening. You need to get more personal with people. The same way I was able to reach out to you from before to maybe help me with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
People need to be more actively involved in the community and that sort. So you need to be able to be approachable. And once approached, how do you look to help them?
Yeah.
You really need to be able to relate and get personal with people. So I even brought up the idea when we talked the first time, like have events and barbecues and stuff like that, and bring out everyone. Have sports tournaments, bring out everyone, and at that event, go get personal with the people. Go talk to them. Say, how are you doing today?
Yeah.
This is who I am, and this is what I'm doing. I threw this event. Are you enjoying yourself? Yeah. And really get to know them on a personal level, because once that's when you'll get really people's attention. Yeah. Outside of that, when people, all these elections, you'll just see people's faces on these signs, but no one's ever met them.
Yeah.
You don't see them. If anything, they pop up at your door and say, vote for me.
Yeah.
Outside of that, they don't do anything. Why should I vote for you? How can we help each other? Okay, I'm gonna vote for you. What are you gonna do for me once you're elected? Let me know. Why should I vote for you? Why should I even go that far?
Yeah.
If I need your assistance or help, will you help me? Stuff like that. I want to know how genuine a person is before I'm even going to think about electing them. So in terms of getting everyone engaged, you need to get personal with them, is my opinion.
Well, Ty, thank you so much for answering my questions. Just wondering if you have any questions that you would like to ask me.
For sure. I told you I spoke to a few people in the community to kind of get their opinions, and if they had the opportunity to ask you a question, what they would ask. And some of the questions were like, what does your, I guess, platform bring to the table? What do you stand for in terms of bettering this community?
Well, like I said, I grew up in this community, just like you did close by. I grew up here in Brampton my whole life. I was born in Toronto, but I started elementary school here. And it gave me the opportunity to really see, the city develop. I made all my best friends in the parks here. Yeah. And I still hold on to many of those friendships. My parents are retiring right here in this riding. My sister's raising her own family here in the riding. So it gives me an attachment to this city. It's really not a city for me. It really is my home.
It's sentimental to you.
It is sentimental to me. My husband grew up here, although I didn't maybe know him in the younger years. But when we met, we have a bond, and our bond is Brampton. Yeah. Now we're raising our own son here. So we want to make sure that that we better Brampton, and that he has the opportunities that I had growing up here. And I'm seeing day after day that those opportunities seem to be slipping through our fingers. Yeah. It's getting tougher. My parents made a great life for themselves. They immigrated here to Canada in the 70s. They made sure we got a good education and that we had a good future going ahead. But now I'm seeing my parents struggle as well. They're past retirement age and they're unable to retire. I'm seeing so many parents come up to me saying that their schools are not what they used to be, and that there's a lot of problems in our community. It's not as safe as it once was. There's so much that is really motivating me to take this leap forward. Yeah. I was somebody who found myself complaining about things, and since I'm somebody who has always been very interested in politics, tell you, when I turned 18, I was thrilled to be able to go out and vote, and to have my voice heard, because I really wanted to be a part of that process, and I want to make sure I motivate other kids to feel that way. I had some great teachers, actually. There's a teacher that canvasses with me quite often. He's a middle school teacher of mine. And we went to Gordon Graydon at that time, and near Williams Parkway in Rutherford. And I've got to say, teachers like him and a lot of others in the schools, they spent time with me after school. I had a speech I was supposed to give somewhere, and this teacher, it wasn't a part of our curriculum, it wasn't a part of classroom work. She spent hours and hours with me making sure I revised the speech so it was just right, and that she would improve my communication skills and my public speaking skills. And I think back to that moment now, and I think it's probably what brought me here today. So we need to make sure we get involved with our young kids at the right age, and we motivate them and make sure, let them know that nothing is impossible. I want to be that for my son as well. I want him to know that, his mom can be a strong voice for the community and everything's possible even though I'm a mom.
And make change.
And make change. That would be better for him and for all communities and all different age groups. So that's really where I'm coming from. I know that the decisions I make, if I'm given the opportunity to make them going to Ottawa, they're going to affect all the people I love here at home and all Bramptonians. I really feel like they're my family. So I'm going to try my best. I know I can't promise anything, everything at least. I can promise something, but perhaps not everything, but I'll work my hardest to do so. I have the energy, I have the drive and the passion right now, and I truly feel Justin Trudeau, the leader of the Liberal Party, also has that similar passion for this country and the energy, and he's really mobilizing a lot of youth, and it's time for a younger generation to step forward. It's so important that we focus on the needs of the younger people. They are our future, and right now we have an epidemic in Peel, 18% unemployment. So that's something we need to work hard towards. The Liberal Party, my platform, you asked me some stuff about my platform. We're going to be making sure that we invest in youth jobs, create 40,000 youth jobs a year, and then another 30,000 in green energy sector jobs for youth. We'll also help fund co-op programs in post-secondary education, post-secondary schools, to make sure that kids get the opportunity to get their foot through the door, get some experience. Another thing that I'm really excited about is we'll be waiving employment insurance for companies that hire young full-time employees, so aged 18 to 24. If any company was to hire somebody within that age, and make sure they give them full-time employment, not temporary. We want to make sure people get true good opportunities. We'll waive their employment insurance, and we've seen in this world that we live in, it comes down to dollars and cents sometimes. So if a company knows that it'll be cheaper for them to hire a young person versus somebody else, we're hoping that gives that young person an opportunity to get some experience on their resume. And I'm also always welcoming volunteers to come through the doors here so that I can help them in their future, give them the volunteer hours they need to succeed. I know a lot of scholarships are based off of that, and I want to be able to give them reference letters, and I even joke with some of them that I'd be more than willing to come to an interview with you or whatever it is. And people need to get involved. Kids need to show more on their resume these days. It is very competitive in the world, and we need to give them every inch that they can get to be able to compete. The economy, I know, is important for everybody, even though sometimes we don't think of it at a young age. The economy is extremely, extremely important, and we are the only party that's bringing forth a different plan to invest in our cities, to make sure we invest in our transit systems and infrastructure, and put money into social infrastructure as well, for senior centers, for rec centers. This is all very important to building community. And for a long time we've just been cutting social programs, cutting mental health is something we need to invest in once again. It's something we're neglecting, and so many young people I know are facing issues in that area. But we're just turning our backs and saying, well, you deal with it. So those are some of my motivations. I went to school for a very long time. I paid a lot in education, a lot of tuition. I have an extreme amount of debt from it, and I'll probably be paying for it for a long amount of years. I want to make sure that we're not falling into the trap of having extremely high expensive education like we do in the US.
It's not a real problem.
It's a really big problem, so we need to subsidize to whatever we can to bring tuition rates back down. That's going to be definitely my big passion, and something I want to try to make happen and change, so that we have kids worrying about their grades and not whether they can afford going to school. Let's encourage everybody, and from all walks of life to be able to go in and better themselves for the future.
Back to what you were even saying about the younger generation in terms of getting them more jobs and stuff and experience, and it's hard because you'll have the average employer saying, we want this and this expectation, but you need this amount of experience.
Yeah.
How does one that's as a young person try to get that job and they require that amount of experience, but how do you get the experience without getting the job?
Right.
It kind of doesn't give equal or fair opportunity to the youth.
Right. I agree. And that's why I think volunteering is very important as well at a young age.
Yeah.
Because that's when you have a little bit more time on your hands to get involved in different organizations. And I'm not just saying in political campaigns, whatever your passion is. I think we should nurture young people's passions at a very young age, and they need to get involved. There's a lot of wonderful organizations, whether it's just charity you want to work with. That's a way forward. I know with me, I started, working with a paper route and then other things and built my experience through that. But I know it's a challenge. It's a challenge when you come out of school. Everybody wants to see this lengthy resume and where do you get that? And they want to see it in a certain field. So that's why I also think co-op placements and skills training, those things are really important. If we can provide those to people while they're in school, it'll give them that little bit of an edge and experience. And so we are going to be investing in that. I encourage every one of your viewers and everybody to log on to our website as well and check out the Liberal platform and everything that we do have proposed for, our youth employment. I think you'll be excited to see. It's very different from all the other plans, and it's about investing. I know you've been hearing a lot about budgets and deficits and all of this kind of stuff, but I think none of that matters at the end of the day if you don't have a decent job and you can't get into school. None of that matters. So what we need to do right now is invest in our people, in our country, and it's the time to do it right now. That's what we all do. We invest in a home for our families with a mortgage. We invest in our school with a student loan because we know we're going to get good results in the future from it. And that's what we need to do with our youth. We need to invest in the government needs to do that. And that's what I plan to do.
What would you say the difference is between your party and the other parties, and I guess what do you bring to the table, not only as a party, but as an individual?
Well, I definitely, like I said, I bring forward that passion. I bring forward a female perspective, which is often lost as well in politics. Somebody with young children is another dynamic that we don't often have. And that's why I really felt the need to take this step. I'm somebody who has grown up here in a very diverse community, so I understand the needs that diverse communities have. I believe the Liberal Party has a good balance of things when it comes to social values, and then also the economy. That's very important. We combine both of these things and not just look at one or the other. We need both to succeed in life and to continue, move forward, and even to compete, on a global scale. We need a balanced approach to so many of these things.
What change do you want to see in this community?
Well, I think I completely agree with you, Ty, that we are seeing a lot of divides in our community. I never thought that was so when I was growing up here in school. There never seemed to be a divide between the students. We were all very, you were friends with each other no matter what your background. But now it seems the older generation, or something's happened where I'm seeing a divide on the playgrounds and in certain communities, downtown Brampton, for instance, versus some of the suburbs. There are some divides, and we need to make sure we address those issues and move forward. We make sure we have dialogue like this. When I went to McMaster, I was the vice president of the Interfaith Council. It was during the years of 9/11. So there was a big divide on campus at times, a lot of controversy, a lot of fear mongering was happening in the political spectrum, and And so what we found was successful at that time was to have all the faiths come together and have dialogue, to talk about each other's, because ignorance is what creates fear and division and hatred, and we need to get rid of the ignorance. So I really feel that's at the root of a lot of the problems.
What do you plan to do, I guess, to make that change?
Well, on my personal campaign, I want to try to encourage. I know it's been a little bit of a challenge as well to try to reach out to every community. But going forward, you know, if I get the opportunity, I want to be able to get people involved in the political process, whether it's through my constituency office, through employment, or through other activities that an MP would have in the community, and try to really reach out to every group that we have here. We have so many. We actually have a very diverse Brampton, and a lot of times we're only focusing on a couple of groups. So I do feel it's important to make sure we hit home with every group, and even those that don't seem disenfranchised at times do feel their voice isn't being heard either. So let's give everybody a platform. That's what we need to do.
Perfect. How do you plan to get the younger generations involved and then keep them involved down the road? I
think once people get involved, they will naturally build a passion and a drive and energy, and they just build from there. I don't think it's hard to keep people involved as long as their passion does lie in that area. I think they just need to be given the opportunity, open a door for them.
I think that's the exact answer I was looking for. Definitely trying to help each other and opening up doors for each other. I think that's definitely the direction we need to be heading in.
I just want to really encourage, once again, I want to really encourage youth to come out and vote. If they don't vote, that's what statistics are showing. I'm not saying every young person doesn't vote, but a huge portion of them do not. And so we're letting people that are 50 and older make all the decisions for us, because they come out and they vote. So we need to really drive this message home and encourage people, because it's all about them and their future now. They need to be making the decision, and they can change this election in any way they want. For the first time, we have, a fairly close race, and if they could make that difference, depending on, them coming out and making sure their voice is heard. So if you could help me in that regard and help spread the message, I'd be very grateful, and help make connections together and help introduce me to people. That's what I'm here for, and that's what I want to do. The more people I meet, the better I feel, and I'm a people person, so I love meeting people, and let's encourage them to come out and vote and have a place at the table so that they're taken seriously and that their needs are taken seriously by government.
Well, you're for sure going to have my vote. I'm definitely going to encourage everyone in our community that I know to definitely vote for you. I see that you're sincere and genuine about bettering our community, and that's what really catches my attention in terms of being of the younger generation, of that percentile that doesn't vote. So this is actually going to be my first year voting, and you are what is making me go out and actually want to be involved.
Well, thank you. Thanks. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
No problem.